Hello. Well, circumstances have dictated a spate of rather serious videos. So I've decided to have some fun with a piece from the Oberlin Review. It's an article from a person of indeterminate gender, one Peter Frey Witzer, who got all hot under the collar over a matter of some heating installation in his or her hall of residence. Actually, since he goes by the name of Peter, I'm assuming he still identifies as a male. Now, I thought at first that this was a satire. After all, the name Frey Witzer is a little bit suspicious. That first Frey name sounds suspiciously like the German word frei, meaning free. And the second barrel of this double-barreled moniker is Witzer, which in German would be Witzer, and a Witze is a joke. I also happen to know there's a Yiddish word, Schwitzer. In Yiddish it means showing off or boasting and comes from the German again, Schwitz meaning to sweat. There's a rather unusual Sacha Baron Cohen video which he made when he was a starting out comedian, and it's called Schwitzing. I'll leave a link in the description. Anyway, back to Mr. Frey Witzer. Can this really be for real? I thought. But, you know, having found the Oberlin Review item, I did a bit more digging. Believe me, it didn't take much, and I found a whole item in the Daily Mail featuring a photograph of Mr. Frey, well, several photographs of Mr. Frey Witzer, and an entire page about his letter. And please note the headline, $80,000 a year. So back to the Oberlin Review, or whatever American universities call those chicken coops into which they put their students in the hope that they will graduate in gender studies and then lay golden eggs, earning pots of money writing about how shit the West is, which they then might be prevailed upon to donate to their old alma maters. This particular battery is called Baldwin Cottage. How very cosy that sounds. And according to the Mail again, Baldwin Cottage is known as the home of Women and Trans Collective. Here's a picture of it. Nice place. I just think I'll slip in a picture here of Afghani girls' school accommodation, just for comparison, you know. So I'm not going to go through the whole Oberlin Review article. I'll just pick out some choice bits. First of all, the shock with which Mr. Frey Witzer received the news that the radiator repairmen would be visiting. This is a letter from the building supervisor or whatever. Starting tomorrow, the contractors will be entering rooms between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. The horror. 10 a.m, you know, I mean, you can't expect them to get up too early, can you? To install the radiators. This will mean that they will be in your room for a period of time to complete the work. And this is what Mr. Frey Witzer says. I grew concerned reading the second line, which informed me that I had less than 24 hours to prepare for the arrival of the installation crew, and I was further perturbed, he was perturbed, by the ambiguous "for a period of time." You mean they couldn't even give him an exact time? This anxiety, I mean, because, you know, the Librium or Valium or whatever they take, you know, it's only got a certain length of time that it works. This anxiety was compounded by the fact that the crew would be strangers and more than likely to be cisgender men. Oh, sound effect here. I was angry, scared, and confused, and he'd have every right to be. Why didn't the college complete the installation over the summer when the building was empty? Yeah, well, maybe they were doing something else. The next day, I waited apprehensively, when the insistent knock eventually came, I'm sure there were a few people in East Germany who might feel deep echoes about that. I scrambled to get my mask on and repeatedly shouted, "Coming!" through the door. 4 or 5 construction workers stood outside. Oh, time for a sound effect. Stood outside, accompanied by someone who I could only assume by his neat polo and clipboard, well, he obviously wasn't a worker then, was he, to be an emissary of the college. We stared at each other for a moment before I moved aside to allow the workers to enter, no doubt like this, against the door. I felt mildly violated and a little peeved. I just thought at this point I'd put up a picture here of someone feeling a little violated and peeved in Indonesia. When I asked other Baldwin residents how they felt, they admitted they weren't entirely comfortable with the fact that they were subject to the whims of contractors. Speaking as someone who has done repairs on my house and had builders in, I know all about the whims of contractors, and at this point I actually have some fellow feeling with you, Mr. Frey Witzer. One resident told me that they were instructed to ask another resident to hurry up in the shower so that the workers could have access to the bathrooms. I just thought I'd slip in a quick image of other kids being asked to hurry up and get out of the bathroom. Yeah, this goes on all over the world, doesn't it? Look, I'm still not sure about the Frey Witzer article, but even if it is a joke, oh God, how I hope it is. But even if it's a joke, enough people took it seriously to make me think that Oberlin College has a problem. As for Mr. and Mrs. Frey Witzer, the parents, my advice to you is to haul your son, or whatever gender fluid identity you have there right now, haul that person right out of that college and get him a job on a building site. Perhaps he could learn to be a plumber. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.